Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to our channel, and thanks for logging on as we continue our journey through the 2018 Bell & Ross catalog. Today, we're discussing the Bell & Ross Vintage BRV293 GMT. This is a timepiece that combines a vintage-inspired case profile, dial, even sapphire, with a convenient automatic winding 24-hour dual time capability. It's even 100 meters water resistant, so while it does have an air of aviation adventure about it, nevertheless this one equally appropriate for the splish and splash, or the splash down if you're a seaplane pilot. Now you can see the watch in this iteration comes on a full bracelet. It's also available on a strap, and you can see the stance of the watch is modern while classically proportioned. So modern is the 41 millimeter diameter of the watch. 41 millimeters by 12.3 millimeters thick. You can see it has an ultra cambered sapphire that creates much of the off-axis distortion charm that you would get from a mid-20th century plexiglass or thermoplastic. And of course that is the era that inspires this watch, but because it's sapphire, you get that charm with protection from harm, as the sapphire is effectively scratch-proof. Only diamonds can routinely scratch it. Very resilient material. The timepiece features a lug-to-lug span quite reasonable. At only 47.7 millimeters, this is an easy watch to wear on a smaller wrist, and I would even recommend it for wrists as small as 13 to 13.5 centimeters circumference. Not a thick watch at 12.3, not excessively sized from lug to lug. The watch has a 22 millimeter lug spacing, so size even more attractive in that you will find a bevy of options, as 22 millimeters is a standard size for lug spacing and strap spacing. Of course, if you get this watch, you can get it with the Bell & Ross accessory strap as well, so you can change the look to suit your attitude or your application. Now, the timepiece features a robust multi-link bracelet, a combination of large primary links and polished intermediates. There's a handsome finish with the shoulders of high polish, the intermediate links of high polish, and then the primary links with a satin finish. You'll see how it continues the polish of the case band into the flow of the bracelet, which is tapered from the lugs down to the clasp. And the clasp itself, nicely machined, very substantial, features a twin trigger actuation system, so it's not friction fit and it doesn't use a cheaper clamshell. The twin triggers ensure that you must positively engage both of them to open the clasp. You'll also note that there is a straight through polished top and satin finished flanks with a side profile that shows you individual apertures for using a strap tool and making micrometric adjustments of the clasp. You'll also note that the individual removable screws for sizing the bracelet are held in place in profile and numerous. You can see many individual removable links equates to lots of sizing leeway, and that's before you bring the micro adjustment into play. Now, moving back to the case, I said the watch is classically proportioned but modern in its outright dimensions, and that's true. 41 millimeters is a contemporary men's sports watch size, but the case band is thin, gossamer, elegant even. It almost has a little bit of dress watch elegance to it, and you can see it's all of high polish. Contrasting with the satin finished tops, you'll also note the conforming end profiles of the bracelet nicely kiss the contours of the case to create a very integrated look. The bezel itself is aviation style, so unlike a dive watch, the anodized aluminum insert and the knurled profile on the edge can move in either direction. Now you can use that 24-hour format in conjunction with the 24-hour hand, the GMT function, to briefly discern 3 separate time zones. You do that by setting the orange arrow index to Greenwich Mean Time, or GMT, and then you use the local airport or port GMT offset in conjunction with the bezel to offset from that GMT time. And in doing so, you can have GMT, you can have 12-hour time for whatever locality, and then you can use the bezel to gauge that third time zone. Alternatively, you can simply line up the bezel with the minute hand or the hour hand and use it as an auxiliary timing organ. The dial is classical simplicity. Gloss black, white on black printing, quarter Arabics, and a vintage evocative orange arrow index drawn from some of the best dual-time watches of the mid-20th century. You'll also note the coordination of color. White seconds hand with a gorgeous Delta-style counterweight, much like a mid-century interceptor aircraft like a Canadian Avro Arrow or an American F-102 or F-106. It could even be a B58 Hustler. And of course you have the fully luminescent orange arrow index, so you can also see the time in 24-hour format by night. You'll note the arrow coordinated with the GMT script at 6 o'clock. Extraordinarily large indices make for easy reading day or night, and you'll note there is a discrete date window at approximately 4:30, so you have access to that practical information, but it does not monopolize the dial. Many sports watch classicists eschew the use of a date window. Bell & Ross gives you the best of both worlds. It's there when you want it. It disappears and melts away due to its discrete sizing and shape when you do not desire it. Now, the extended baton minute hand and the broadsword style hour hand are both robustly luminescent, and you can configure the watch dial however you like by threading the crown out. It is a screw down crown, as you'll note from the case back, which is in a display format. You have water resistance of 100 meters thanks to the screwed in case back and the screw down crown. So again, water resistant watch and a pilot's watch at the same time. Now you pull the crown to extremity, you stop the balance of the caliber 303 that's in this watch. Caliber 303 beats away 28,800 vibrations per hour. It is based on a thin and fine V2-93 Swiss caliber, so you have that hacking or stop seconds function to precisely set the watch. But there's an intermediate setting position. Now I'm going to ensure that I'm not in the danger zone and roll the watch through midnight just to make sure. Never set the day to your watch between 9 and 3, 9 p.m., 3 a.m. And now I have that second clutch position where I can step the 24-hour hand in 1-hour increments, and I can quickly set the date. And this is a significant advantage over most GMT style watches, which force you to cycle the hour hand endlessly in order to adjust the date. Here you have a simple quick set. Turn counterclockwise and you change the date. Turn clockwise and you jump the GMT hand. It's that easy. Of course, you have the hacking or stop seconds function. It's a thin, fine, and tough 21 joule movement, and you can see it beating away underneath the sapphire caseback. You'll also note a geosphere logo with the notation GMT 24-hour overlaid atop the movement, and it is a bidirectional winder for a very smooth winding action. You'll find that you can scarcely hear or feel the rotor because of that bidirectional action. You can see this watch and the entire Bell & Ross collection on our website, govbergwatches.com, and learn more about the features and facets of each model. And I am back with the Bell & Ross Vintage BRV293 GMT. You can see the four corners, 12, 3, 6, and 9. You can see hours, minutes. You can also see the small triangular index of the 24-hour hand, and you'll note that there is a luminescent pearl on the bidirectional rotating bezel that you can use as an easy point of reference if you want to use the bezel as a timing instrument at night. You can see this one by the light of day on our website, govbergwatches.com.